We are back, and joining us live here in the Wendy's studios is none other than the NBA champion, NCAA champion, and many believe should have been the state champion that year. I thought Doss was going to win that thing. I really did. But it's our good friend Derek Anderson. Derek, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
All is well, all is well. I agree with you.
I remember standing behind the goal watching that game and in the regional championship, and I'm thinking, man, you know, I thought you had a good game. I just didn't think anybody was there to help you. And I hate to out the rest of your team, but it was just, it was a tough night. It was a tough night. I was rooting for you, brother.
I appreciate that.
Well, listen, man, I'm glad to have you on, and you're doing some really exciting things, man. You got a book coming out. Tell us about the book Stamina. Tell us what that's all about.
Basically how I grew up and how people perceive you and how they think something when the reality is we all have a story, but what did you do with that story? You know, people love to gossip and talk on sites, but did you do anything to help someone out while, you know, with your life story or the things that you've learned? Have you bettered the society or the people around you? So that was basically my story. And coming from being homeless and living in shelter homes and sleeping in hallways, sleeping in my own high school gym, which is ironically named after me now. Just those type of things that you focus when you go through as a child. You always want to stay focused. And the book Stamina means don't run out of breath before you win. And I just never stopped trying, and I wound up being successful later in life.
Now, a lot of people don't know this side of Derek Anderson. They know the NBA side. They know the NCAA Kentucky side. Why did you feel it was important to tell this side of the story?
Well, everyone's told me to tell my story. You know, I was going against it because, you know, I don't want to embarrass some of my family, you know, this and that. But it wasn't an embarrassment. It was a learning process for all of us. So to me, it was basically if I didn't share it, God would, you know, take everything away from me, and it would be a shame that I wasn't able to help other people with it.
Right.
You know, the biggest service you can do to other people is serve other people. So I felt like my story was to get people out of the rut they're in, even adults. You know, some adults think it's okay to gossip and talk about things, and then when their children going through tough times and they hear people talk about the children, they realize that they've given birth to that sin. So for me, I just felt like it was something that needed to be done and needed to be spoken upon, and hopefully it'll help someone else get out of the situation they're in and be better.
Now, you mentioned that at one point in your career or in your growth as a human, you were homeless. Now, how do you stay focused on sports when you don't have a place to live?
Well, basically, your only outlet was something. A lot of guys, the outlet was criminal activity, and I never believed in that. No selling drugs, never using drugs, never stealing, never robbing. Those are cowardly ways when you go out. When you take someone else's hard-earned, you know, things, that's not cool. And I always felt like that's something I'm not going to do. So I wouldn't work at a candy store. I wouldn't carry people's grocery bags for a nickel or a dime. This is in the 80s. So, you know, I was really hustling just to give up $2, and I wound up getting bread and bologna for $2.
Wow.
So, you know, I mean, those are ways that you survive at that age, in 11 and 12. I'm literally taking cold baths. We had no heat, no electricity. I'm taking cold baths in the same bath water I'm washing my clothes in. And still, you know, I just wanted to be clean. You know, my situation was going to determine how I acted. So I just continued to grow from that point on. I guess it was something that, you know, in me that made me not stop, and that's why I've always been successful in basketball.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's absolutely amazing. You know, it sounds like that this is a very timely book and the book is called Stamina, written by our guest today, Derek Anderson. And it sounds like it's a very timely book because we're living in a time now where people need that kind of encouragement. What would you say to athletes right now who are going through similar situations right here in this city?
Well, I think the biggest problem with the athletes now is too many people are kissing up to them, and then the other athletes don't get to see the other side of life. You know, when you're focused on one thing, that's all you know. You know, you can't really blame it on people who don't know any better. So to me, I think we need to find a way of educating them about just real life, like moral skills. Like, quit trying to teach me how to dissect a frog and teach me how to prepare for a job application. Teach me how to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am when I'm going to a job interview instead of saying and duh and you know what I mean. You know, these type of educational things are can be taught. But we so focus on rewarding 2% of entertainment, athletes, all these other people, instead of focusing on, school teachers being paid, the janitors being paid, career-long jobs that are easily done with good moral values, and that's what I really wanted to focus on. So that's why I'm getting everyone back to understanding the moral value of being respectful will get us a lot better and a lot further along in life.
Now, without getting into a lot of the rumors that are out there, because I don't want to get into that. We don't do that on this show. But I do want you to kind of put them to bed. And how difficult is it to go about trying to do what you're talking about doing now when you're so misunderstood? Because I do believe that athletes and entertainers are some of the most misunderstood people, because they have to live out their lives in the public eye, and anything they do gets scrutinized, and a lot of times unjustly.
That's because people put them on a pedestal. You remember when we were growing up, who was getting criticized? Everybody.
Yeah.
Not just one person. It was people in your community. If you was the regular mailman and you wasn't doing your job, people would say something about it.
That's right.
You've putting athletes and entertainers so far up on a pedestal, now you're trying to knock them back down by criticizing or making up things about them just to feel like you're bringing them back down to where they need to be. We should have never put us up there that high. When I was growing up, I thought, hey, I want to go across the street, live in a regular house. It was, 1,500 square feet. I just wanted to get out of the projects. I wanted to live a good life, work, come home, teach my kids to be, good people. That's all you do. All your best memories are how people treat you in a nice way. So for me, I just think that they need to stop focusing on, again, the 2% of what makes up millionaires and billionaires and focus on the 98% of hardworking everyday citizens. And that's when you'll stop all the killings, all the crime, all that stuff will slow down at least. You got people begging to get money and to be famous, and then they don't make it. First thing they do is start a crime.
Right. Well, speaking of being famous and the desire to be famous, these guys, all these guys are the NBA climate or the NCAA climate has changed dramatically from when you were a player, and now there's this whole one and done thing that's going on now. And last night we saw a player who probably is a one and done player go down to a very, very violent injury. You have some, and I don't want to rehash old wounds, but you do have some familiarity with what probably Noel is going through. What did you think when you saw that play last night?
I thought it was a blessing that he doesn't even realize now, because he'll be able to grow. He'll be able to strengthen himself. He'll be able to get better mentally in basketball. So instead of him going to a team this year and then he sits on a bench or he doesn't learn, doesn't get to play, or he gets hurt in the NBA, and then all of a sudden people say, well, we can't depend on him in the NBA because he's always hurt. This is one of those actually blessings. And the same thing I went to. People was like, well, man, you could have been the number 1 or 2 pick with Tim Duncan. I said, yeah, but I went to a terrible team and you might not have ever heard from me. I'd have been out of the league because I'd have been shooting too much or trying too hard. Or I went to a 10 to 13 pick. We had Sean Kemp. We went to the playoffs. It was kind of one of those blessings that I was like, wow, this kind of worked out for me.
Yeah.
So I look at his situation as he gets better mentally, physically, and the next following year he'll be able to go and be a number 1 pick and still, have a long career instead of having a 2 or 3 year career and not being able to finish because maybe he's not strong enough. You just never know.
Does the NCAA and well, I mean, I don't want to say the NCAA. Let me say it this way: do families and friends and hangers on and influences, do we push these kids into these experiences far sooner than they should be? Because it seems like there's some life skills that are being missed in the midst of this elevation of you're this superstar athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. They miss it all the time, and that's the purpose. That's why I say we should have them come out after their sophomore year. You can't. This guy has never had a check. I mean, there's so much education that they don't know about. I told people when I first came out, I was just like, man, I didn't know about taxes and everything, and it's in my book. But I told the story is when I first got my first check was $250,000. So I'm like, oh man, that's great. Then all of a sudden I got the return, and it was 127. So I'm just like, where all my money go?
Right.
I called my attorney and asked him, like, who is FICA? Who is this guy?
FICA gets you every time, doesn't it?
Yeah. So when you're not educated, you don't know better.
Right.
I had to educate myself on financial literacy, and that's what they have to do. And you realize these guys are being told they're the greatest at everything, and they have to find out everything on their own. So now you go from being a child, and then you making millions. Now the parent has to listen to you. Come on. That's hard to do.
It is hard to do. It is hard to do. Should we be concerned that, though, let me play devil's advocate a little bit. Should we be concerned that a kid like a Nerlens Noel is now injured and not making any money at Kentucky, where he could have been in the NBA with this injury but still making money? Should we be concerned about that kind of thing?
Why would you be concerned when it's not even promised?
Mm.
Nothing is promised. You don't know if that's going to happen or not. He don't know if he goes to the pros and tears me up and never plays again. None of that stuff is promised. You can't go off of what if.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we've done. Yeah, that's kind of what we've done. You're right.
It's income.
Say that again. That sounded good. Say that again.
It's not if come, it's income.
I like that. It's not if come, it's income. I like that.
Yeah. So until you get a check, quit worrying about what you think might happen. You just you just do your part in life and expand and do the best you can.
Now, are you gonna get an opportunity to go to the All-Star festivities this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be there Saturday. I'm playing a Legends game. I'm not even 40, and I'm playing a Legends.
That's kind of insulting, isn't it?
It is, right? I'm like, what? Y'all want me to play a Legends game?
Wait, so you just won an NBA title like just 7 years ago. Has that been that long ago?
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? I ain't playing.
But now, is there any education that will happen this week with the quote unquote legends, like you're saying, to the younger guys, and pulling these guys aside and say, hey guys, I know you're down here partying, I know you're having a good time, but let me holler at you for a minute and give you some wisdom about what to do and how to hold on to your money, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I always talk to them, but again, these are young guys who don't understand anything. They haven't been taught that because AAUs kiss up to them, high school kisses up to them. And then you go to college, you got to kiss up to them because they're scared they might transfer on them.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, and that's what I like now that Coach Cal's doing. He's teaching these guys how to, think outside the box. Quit thinking about, I'm going to make it to the NBA, I'm going to do this and that. You don't know if you're going to make it. Who says you're guaranteed to make that?
Right.
So to me, it's a good thing that he's teaching them that, and that's what all our coaches should teach them. We should have them come in and teach them how to prepare for that. I've written a TV show called One Shot about how athletes go in and then they don't have no education. Then all of a sudden they're working at at a restaurant. He's 6'11", no college degree, no nothing, but yet he's that's all he knows because he didn't do anything with his education.
Wow, man, that's tough, man. And you hear that story all the time, and it's heartbreaking because, and it's not heartbreaking just because it was an athlete that it happened to. It's just heartbreaking because a kid, whether he's an athlete or whatever his gifts and talents are, it's just heartbreaking that we're not giving the information out that needs to be given out to these kids.
Yeah, that's it. But It all starts from the home. It all starts from the people that are surrounded by you. I don't want to work with anybody who's not smarter than me. You defeat the purpose if you're around me and you're not smarter than me and you want to do business.
There you go. I like that. All right, man. Well, before I let you get out of here, I got to tease you a little bit. How hard is it for you to see your coach down here in red and black while your team is still up here in blue and white?
Oh, man, it don't bother me. I'm used to it. We win championships, and I support Coach Pitino all the time. Man.
Okay.
He's been a good guy, to all of us, so we respect him for what he did for us. And we just respect him as a coach and as a person more than just the team.
But the loyalty is still with UK.
Oh man, I'm not ever leaving UK.
Very good.
Yeah, they take care of their players.
Well, now where can somebody pick up the book Stamina? How do you get a hold of it?
You can go on my site DerrickAndersonWorks.com, or you can go to Barnes and Nobles. It'll be on ebooks and Amazon in a week, but in next week we'll have it in Barnes and Nobles, and I'll be doing autograph signing there too on March 1st. So, but if you want it now, you can go to my site back again, DerrickAndersonWorks.com, and send your copies.
All right,
copy.
Man, I appreciate you coming on with us, man, and giving us that expert advice and just really good wisdom, man. I hope these young brothers are listening to you out there, man.
I do too, man. Hope we all paying attention to each other. So
that's it.
Get better.
Thanks for coming on with you.
No problem, man. Have a good one.